Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. Again, my name is Jeffrey Davis, and you know, at Radio Entrepreneurs, all we do is speak to leaders and entrepreneurs. That's what we're all about. And you know, to date, over 6,000. So we're doing okay on Radio Entrepreneurs. We have a lot of content. Before our next guest, I want to thank our hosts, Sapers and Wallack. That means Evan Macedo. Thank you, Evan, for helping us.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for inviting me to be the host on the show. I think this is going to be a fantastic afternoon.
Right. So our next guest, one I've known forever. He still talks to me, or at least he says hello to me when I come in. And that is Al Faber, founder of Faber Growth Strategies, and then also someone I've known quite well for a shorter time, Joe DiLorenzo, CEO, MD Group. Welcome, guys.
Hello, Jeffrey.
Right.
Hi.
Hi. Before we get into FEI and your relationship with FEI, and I know, Al, you've been in FEI forever, what came first, FBI or Al? We think, they built it around you. But why don't you tell us first about MD Group? So we have a definition, and then, that's you first about MD Group, Joe, and then Al can tell us about his organization.
Okay. MD Group is a corporate strategy and business development company, pretty much all industries, other than maybe some of the life sciences and banking. But that's what we do, corporate strategy, biz dev, things such as that.
That's great. And Al, why don't you give us a little background on your company?
Al Faber Growth Strategies is an organization that I founded 6 years ago at age 75 after working for the man for a lot of years. And I serve as a connector and facilitator on a retainer basis for clients who have clients, therefore clients who feel they are a trusted advisor to their clients, because that's my role and reputation, and introduce my clients to prospective clients. I help my clients develop third-party synergies with other client service organizations for the purpose of referrals and joint branding. Introduce my clients who, not for the sake of wanting to do business, but to be able to say, I know John Fish or Bob Reynolds or Marty Walsh or Charlie Baker. I facilitate those. In the long run, I bring a lot of white hair and wrinkles to the table, which is extremely important.
I don't see that much white hair and wrinkles on Joe.
What did you say your name was?
So tell us about FEI, because you're probably one of the original members, correct?
I've been a member of FEI for more than 50 years now. I was introduced to FEI by my mentor, F. Gorham Brigham Jr., who passed in 2016 at age 101. And when Gorham first met me, we were both on the board of the old United Fund, which became United Way. And Gorham approached me after a meeting, put his arm on my shoulder and said, "Stick with me, kid, and you will go places." Without 50 years or 50-plus years of mentorship by Gorham, I would not be the person I am, assuming I'm any person of substance anyways.
Now, how have you seen FEI grow and change throughout the years?
Well, I think FEI and the Brigham legacy have never changed, and Joe can attest to that also. It's built on nurturing and building relationships. The Boston business community, and therefore the FEI chapter, is extremely relationship-driven. The transactional characters that are in this business community are found out very quickly. But FEI has changed, not in terms of its mission and not in terms of the Brigham legacy, but it has changed dramatically in terms of the numbers of people that actively participate, because we're no longer the only game in town.
And I know people have the option to join. There's dozens of different organizations to join around Boston, or internationally as well. What sets FEI apart from all the other organizations you two have seen or been involved in?
Well, I think it gets to the point of FEI is a family. It's a family built upon relationships. So many people pay it forward, as hopefully done in any family. But it hasn't changed in terms of the Brigham legacy and the philosophy of always doing the right thing for the next person.
Okay, great. And, so if somebody new came into FEI, if you were to give them any advice on how to utilize it to the best of their ability to get the most out of it, what would you tell them?
Talk to Al Faber.
Well, thank you. I'm embarrassed by that, but we would be absolutely certain that they actively took part in the mentoring activities that FEI is known for. Mentoring in terms of job transition, or mentoring in terms of other personal or professional activities. And the growth of FEI, to a large degree, has been a function of the kinds of things Gorham did and others, including Joe, in building that sense of belonging and sense of relationships. And the one thing that I talk most about is the relationship nature of the Boston business community, and people really do help people within FEI, and that's what keeps us going and very healthy as an organization.
Do you have to hold standards within the organization, or do you feel people are good at self-managing themselves?
Well, I Joe, you want to?
Oh, sure. I'll answer that. FEI actually has a code of conduct, and each year, every member nationally subscribes to a code of ethics, and it's the same code of ethics that the SEC has used in the past. So, yes, they do. There are clearly standards. When Enron and some of the other debacles that occurred 10, 20 years ago occurred, we did not have one member nationally who got in trouble, which I think says a lot about the organization. And I think, echoing Al's comments too, it's an organization of senior financial executives, not necessarily junior ones, things such as that. We are aspiring to get, to put people in a track that would eventually lead to, one of those top 2 or 3 financial roles.
That's fantastic. And I know there's lots of events, almost every single month, but what are the events like? If somebody were to go to them, what should they expect?
Well, we have 9 or so evening events. We call them executive events. We have program development events where, it helps one's career, whether it's personal issues or current topics. We have career services. We have a whole bunch of different things. So really, it serves the membership quite well. I will say this: in addition to Al focused on the Boston chapter, I had a fairly large national role where the advocacy of FEI and its members and dealing with government services, IRS, SEC, things such as that. The advocacy piece is a big part of why people join. Now, we look at it on a chapter level from a networking perspective, but there are many thousands who are not so active locally, but because of the advocacy pieces, they stay involved and they continue to pay their dues because they see great value.
FEI Boston is a very special place. In all due respect to other organizations and other communities, FEI Boston is very special. A good example of the amount of time that's given to mentoring and coaching youngsters like you, Evan, as a new member.
Youngster.
Well, everybody's. I'm always the oldest person in the room, or am wearing shoes that are older than anybody that's in the room. But a good example of what FEI does: a number of years ago, when our membership was up around 1,200, the then president of the FEI chapter in Boston asked that I was chairing career services at that point, which I did for 10 years. The chapter president asked to do a survey of the 1,200 people, how many of the 1,200 had been in job transition before they became members, and because of the help we gave them, they got positions and became a member, or they were members of the chapter and they participated as career counselors and career services, or a networking resource. And without exaggeration, and we live in a community, in a world right now where there's a lot of exaggeration south of Boston, and you're hearing that from a Republican, an embarrassed Republican. Of the 12 or 1,300 members, 843 fit that category that I just mentioned. Wow, that's amazing. That really goes to demonstrate what FEI Boston is all about.
Well, again, we've been speaking with Al Faber and Joe DiLorenzo, with Evan and Macedo. Macedo is my co-host. Joe or Al, if someone's looking for either one of you, how would they find you?
I am at 617-650-2522 or joe@dilorenzo.com.
Perfect. Al?
Al, 508-380-3810. I'm all over LinkedIn. It's wide open to the world, and I guess everybody knows where I am. And
You haven't sent me a note in about a month.
And I'm always available.
Wow. Well, it's great to have two legends on the show with a great co-host. I want to thank you guys and
Thank you.
Continued success. And I hope you beat the record of over 102.
I'm working on it. Thank you very much.
You're in second place, but we try harder at number 2.
Yeah.
I worked on that campaign. My name is Jeffrey Davis, and we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after these messages.